Mogul Motivation, empowering and inspiring entrepreneurs and dream chasers worldwide, 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I'm your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. Welcome back. I'm happy that you are here. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur trying to get over that hump and make things happen. But this podcast is also for anybody with a dream that wants to go forward and accomplish that dream. We are 5 months into 2024 already. It's crazy. Time is flying. Today is May 1st. It's the first of the month, which means a renewed mindset, a refresher. Whatever you went through in April, May is your time to reverse all of that. As for me, I voiced a lot of emotions on my previous episodes on Mogul Motivation in regarding to how my month of April went. It was an emotional roller coaster, up and down, up and down. And I recently came to a conclusion that God is still working. It's not like I ever thought that God wasn't working or that God had forgotten about me, but my humanness, my emotions always tend to seep out as what happens with all humans when we are disappointed and frustrated. But once those emotions calmed down and settled like a boiling pot of water, the water was still. And once the water was still, I was able to regain my clarity and realize that God is still working. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that, because I was disappointed over something that happened last month that I was really working hard to accomplish, and it didn't work out. And once I, calmed down, I realized that it was not meant for me to go in that direction. With the things that I want to accomplish in my future, the plan I have for my business, my brands, it wasn't meant for me to go in that direction that I was working so hard to go in for so many months. So in essence, it's kind of like God was really telling me, hey, bro, you really don't need this. I'm going to let you think you do, but you don't need this. So I'm going to allow you to be frustrated in the moment, but then I'm going to remind you on what you do need to do. And that's the moment I had. But that's not what brought me to the conclusion that God is working. What brought me to the conclusion is this. Towards the end of April, and there are some things in play for this month as well, there are opportunities that were presented to me that have benefited me financially and personally. And it was easy. I wasn't focused on these opportunities because I was so fixated on the opportunity I thought that I wanted earlier in the month that I just told you I was disappointed over because it didn't work out. I was so fixated on that these other opportunities presented themselves to me freely, easily, kind of like a flowing river. And they're blessing me financially, like I said, and they're blessing me personally. And it's going to provide a lot of upward mobility for me that will, in essence, allow me to accomplish that goal that I didn't accomplish last month. But these opportunities that came to me freely and easily were the same opportunities I was praying for 8 to 10 years ago. I was praying for these type of opportunities. I was up late at night, almost every night, working hard, trying to develop marketing schemes, trying to develop tactics and plans to make these opportunities come to fruition. And it never worked out. Not to the way I wanted it to. Not to the point where I was making 4 or 5 figures. It never worked out 18 years ago. And I was working hard at it. So now fast forward to 2024, the disappointment that I endured last month, I was working hard at that to accomplish that, and it didn't work out. Cool. Once I calmed down, I realized that it was other opportunities coming to me that I was praying for 8 to 10 years ago. And I wasn't even focused on it. I wasn't even trying to make it happen, but it still happened. I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that those prayers that I prayed 8 to 10 years ago were still circulating in the atmosphere. They never evaporated. They were still circulating into the atmosphere. And now, at this point, they are starting to fall fresh on me when I wasn't even focused or thinking about them. And it came at a very great opportune moment because I was disappointed about something totally different. So now these opportunities that's happening now is God telling me, look, I hear you. Everything you are asking for, everything you are working toward, it will come to you. Just not in the timing that you think it should come to you and not in the form that you think it should come to you. I know better than you do. God knows better than we do. We are working so hard trying to beat to our own drum that we are ignoring God's symphony. You see, you have to understand that the music God is creating and making in your life is beautiful. And it requires a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different instruments, a lot of different things to happen to create that beautiful music. The orchestra of occurrences that's occurring in your life right now is no coincidence. It's all part of God's plan. It's all part of that symphony. So God can bless you. So you can finally receive what you've been asking for. You see, I've been trying to beat to my own drum with one little drum set, and God said, I got a whole orchestra for you. Listen to the symphony. We are too busy trying to make our own music, and our own music is terrible. We are too busy trying to make our own concert of things, and it's never going to work out. But if we just sit still and listen and pay attention, you will realize that God is still working in your life. God is still working in your entrepreneurial journey, in your career. All those disappointments are simply detours around disasters. I talked about that on the previous episode. But not only that, those disappointments can be distractions from the symphony. You are so frustrated that you can't hear that music. You can't hear that beautiful melody that's telling you, you will succeed. You will accomplish this goal, just not in the way you think you need to accomplish the goal. I know the plan. I have the symphony. I have the music sheet already written. Just play exactly how I told you to play, and it's going to happen. But as humans, we are arrogant. We are egotistical. We think we know best, and that's why I was so disappointed last month. So on May 1st, going forward in this month, going forward the rest of this quarter and the rest of this year and beyond, you will be frustrated. You will be disappointed. You will be angry because things are not working out. And understand, you're not wrong for that. You are a human. As an entrepreneur, as somebody who wants to achieve something of value, you will run into rejections and roadblocks. But the symphony is still playing in the background, even when you aren't paying attention. The orchestra of occurrences in your life are no coincidence. It's all part of God's plan to shower you with blessings, to shower you with miracles, to shower you with all things that are good and true and noble. So that's my message this week, everybody. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. In this month of May, or whatever month or week or season you may be listening to this episode, I challenge you to sit still and pay attention. Because there are prayers that you prayed in the past that God has not forgotten about. They are still on the docket. And when God sends you those answered prayers, those blessings, you are going to shout in praise and you're going to be thankful. And it's at that point you're going to realize that the symphony has been loud the entire time, but do not wait until that point. Start listening to the symphony now when you're frustrated. Start listening to the symphony now when you are angry. Start listening to the symphony now when you are disappointed. Start listening to the symphony now when you are confused, and watch it calm your heart, calm your spirit, and renew your mind and your focus. And you will be a success. If this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, I ask for two things as always. Number one, please leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may benefit from it as well. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you next week.